So guys, this is Tuesday in the New Wave Maths and we are on week 21. So week 21 Tuesday. The first thing we're asked to do here is add up these two numbers. Now this number and this one, they're both what we call negative numbers. Okay, they're negative numbers. They have a minus sign in front of them. So we're going to start with a 0 on our number line. And because both numbers are negative, there's going to be no, the opposite of a negative number is a positive number. So there's going to be, the positive numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the negative numbers are -1, -2, -3, and I'm going to keep going here, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, and -9. And we always start at 0, and what we're going to add on to 0 is -3. So instead of counting forwards, we count backwards, and we go 1, 2, 3, and we land on -3. And we're starting from there now before we add on our -5. So we're going to go back another 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to land down on this number here, which is a -8 or a -8. Okay, so that's, and you write that like this, minus sign and then an 8. Question 2. Now you've come across this one, that's 2 squared, and we call this one here 2 cubed. That's a 3 there in case you can't read it. So 2 squared is 2 times 2. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2. So you multiply the number by itself this amount of times, whatever this number here is. So this one here, it doesn't have a special name. After squared and cubed, we just call the next one 2 to the power of 4, 2 to the power of 5, 2 to the power of 6, and so on. So this one is 2 to the power of 5. And all that means is we're going to multiply 2 by itself 5 times. So it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. If it was 2 to the power of 4, it would be 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Okay, so that's how you do those ones there. I'm just going to rub out some of this stuff here. Now, okay. So the next one is 40 multiplied by something, y, is equal to 200. So y is equal to what? So what do you multiply 40 by to get to 200? If you are comfortable multiplying 40, you can multiply it. If not, you can just keep adding up 40 until you get to 200. So 40 plus 40 is 80, plus another 40 is 120. Keep going till you get to 200 and count up how many 40s you have. And that'll tell you how many times you multiply 40 by to get to 200. Number 4, we've got 0.7 and we're multiplying it by 0.4. We put them on top of each other. We call this multiplying vertically. So 4 sevens is 28, put down an 8, carry my 2. 4 zeros is 0 and 2 is 2. So no point in multiplying this 0 here because it won't give us any new numbers other than 0. So all we have to do is count up how many numbers in the sum there are after a decimal. So you have this 7 after a decimal and this 4, that's 2 numbers after the decimal. So from here we count in 1, 2 places, our decimal goes there, and to tidy it up we put a 0 in front and we get 0.28. Now, next one, number 5, change 4 and 3/7 to an improper fraction. Now, an improper fraction looks like this. It would be something like 20 over 10, where the number on top is bigger than the number on the bottom. That's an improper fraction. So to turn this one into an improper fraction, we're going to do 7 multiplied by the 4 and then add on the 3. So 7 fours is 28, add on your 3, and whatever answer you get for that, you're going to put that all over 7. Because in each unit here, there's 7 sevens, so 7 fours tells us how many sevens in there altogether, plus the 3 sevens you have in the fraction here will tell you how many sevens you need altogether to make an improper fraction. Number 6, we're simplifying 15 over 20. So there's a number that will divide into the top and the bottom. Find that number, divide it in, and that will give you a new fraction of something over something here. And that will be that simplified. In this one, we have to put in plus, minus, divide or multiply, plus, minus, divide or multiply in here. And it has to work when you do the numbers in the brackets first. So if you decide to put plus in here and minus in here, it has to work where you add 80 plus 8 first and then subtract your 5 away. So you need to find which symbols, mathematical operations will work in these two boxes here. Number 8, it says a wizard needs 375, and this here is milliliters, and there's 1,000 of those in a liter. So a wizard, he or she, needs 375 milliliters of apple juice for his breakfast. Colour to show the level. Now, not everything is marked on this here. We have 250 mil here. And if we think about that, what is this one here? Okay, this is exactly, if we say this is 0 down at the bottom when it's empty, and this here is 250, well, this one is halfway between them. So this one here has to be 125 mils. So if the space between these then from 0 to here is 125, and from here to here, from 125 to 250 is 125, that means that all of these spaces here are equal to 125 milliliters. So this one here is going to be 250 plus 125. And I think if you write down what this one is and look over here, you're going to realize that that's going to help you a lot with your answer. In fact, you're done when you do that. Number 9, it says the wizard then added 250 ml of carrot juice. What is the new level? And they're asking for that in mils. So to do that, he first put in, it was in the last question, 375 mils. In this one, he added 250 mils. So if we add those together, that's going to tell us how many mils are in altogether. Question 10, what we have to do on these ones, we're being asked how many times does this box B fit into box A? And the way we do that is we have to work out what is the volume of these boxes. How much space do they take up? And the volume is the length multiplied by the width multiplied by the height. So for box A, we're going to get 5 times 4 times 3 is equal to something, and that's our volume for box A. For box B, we're going to get 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. That'll give us our volume for box B. So we'll have the volume of each box then, and we just need to divide the smaller answer into the bigger answer, and that will tell us how many times box B fits into box A. Number 11, this is a nice easy one. We just make sure to keep the units on top of the units, decimals on top of decimals. So you're going to write down 2.543. Underneath you're going to write 3.042. And it's a simple adding up sum, and we just need to remember when we're doing it that our decimal goes in here when we're adding up. The decimal stays in the same column. Number 12, is 64 a multiple of 8? Well, you need to count in eights, and if you land on 64, then it is, and if you don't land on 64, then it isn't. Number 13, we have to draw a 90-degree rotation clockwise. So we need to take this shape here, and we need to rotate it, and this way is clockwise, So we need to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. And that's what it's going to look like once it's been rotated like that. Okay, so again, I'll just show you that. To rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, we go and turn it like that. If we were going 180 degrees, we'd go another 90 and it would be upside down. And another 90 degrees would bring it to 270, and another 90 brings you to 360, which is a full circle, and you're back to where you started. Okay, so you can rewind the video there if you need to have another look at that one. Question 14. What is the average of these four numbers? Well, what you need to do is add them up, add up the four numbers, and then take the answer, and you have to divide the answer by how many numbers there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So add them all up, then divide it by 4, and that gives you your average. Question 15. What is 40% of 90 euro? 40% of 90 euro. So to do this one, we need to, probably the easiest way to do it is look at what fraction is 40%. So 40% is 40 out of 100, and we can simplify that by crossing off to zeros, so it's also equal to 4/10. And we can simplify that, we can divide 2 into the top and bottom. 2 goes into 4 twice, and it goes into the bottom 5 times. So this 40% here is equal to 2/5. And we need to find 2/5 of 90. The way we do that is divide by the bottom and multiply by the top. Divide by the bottom, multiply by the top. And if you're interested in it, you should find out that it will also work if you divide by this one. If you divide by the bottom and multiply by the top, it'll still give you the same answer. But it's easier when we simplify it because the numbers are smaller. Number 16 is asking us how many degrees has a quadrilateral. Now a quadrilateral is, well, one of the quadrilaterals, it has 4 sides. Okay, so if you think about maybe a rectangle or a square, they're quadrilaterals, and in their cases, each angle in here is a right angle. It's 90 degrees. And if we add up 90, 90, 90, and 90, that will tell you how many degrees there are in a quadrilateral. What's interesting about them is that you can draw any shape with 4 sides, and as long as the sides are straight and they all join up with each other, if you add these 4 angles here, you're always going to get the same answer as we got when we added up these 4 90s. So that's how many degrees a quadrilateral has. 8 multiplied by a half. So there's a little trick for this. We might have forgotten it because we haven't done it in a little while, but 8 multiplied by a half, we're going to write down the 8 as 8 over 1, write it as a fraction, and we are going to flip this. Actually, sorry now guys, that's my fault. I was thinking of dividing. We're not dividing here, we're multiplying. So we've 8 multiplied by a half. We can still write the 8 over 1. So we've 8 over 1 multiplied by 1 over 2. So we multiply the top 2 numbers to get what goes on top, multiply the bottom to get what goes on the bottom, and then see if you can simplify that. You should be able to divide the bottom number into the top number just to get a whole number for your answer. Question 18, the hour hand. Now remember, the hour hand is the short one here, and it shows you it pointing at 2 different spots. The hour hand rotates how many degrees for each consecutive hour? Now, that's a fancy way of saying each hour. How many degrees does it rotate each hour? And it shows you this angle in here. That's how much it rotates between 4 and 5. Now, if you remember a circle, so a full rotation is 360 degrees. Now, if we slice that up, so we're going up to 12, out to 1, out to 2, out to 3. They've done 4 and 5. If we do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now if I had drawn that neatly, you'd see that all these little angles in here are all the same. And if you count them up, you should find that there's 12 of them. So if we take the full 360 and we divide it up into 12 pieces, that will give us what one of those angles between the errors is equal to. So we're going to take 360 degrees and we're going to divide it by 12. And that'll give us our answer for how many degrees it rotates each consecutive hour. Number 19, we have 6 times something is equal to 10 times 3. So what? Well, first of all, we're going to work out what is 10 times 3, and that's 30. So 6 times something is equal to 30. What must that number be? And our last one for today, 2 1/4 million, write it as a numeral. Okay, so first of all, a million would look like this. It's a 1 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros after it. So 2 million would look like that, except instead of a 1 at the start here, we'd have a 2. And there's also a 1/4 of a million. Now we can work out what is a 1/4 of a million by taking 1 million and dividing it by 4. That will give us a 1/4 of a million. So 4 into 1 doesn't go. 4 into 10 goes twice with 2 over. 4 into 20 goes 5 times. And then 4 into 0 doesn't go, doesn't go, doesn't go, doesn't go. So we have 250,000, okay? So that's what a 1/4 of a million is. So we have our 2 million here, and then we need to get rid of these zeros and replace them with this, which is a 1/4 of a million. Okay, so see if you can write down that number. It'll be 2 and then these numbers here following it. That'll be 4, sorry, yeah, that'll be 2 1/4 million. 2 and these numbers here following. Okay, I hope that was clear, guys, and I'll be back to you tomorrow with Wednesdays.